Hello and welcome to Old Faithful. I'm your host, Matt Trask. My thanks to Perfect Wave Productions. Steve and Jay down here making me look good today. My thanks to Black Hills Blend. We're going to try having coffee on the show once in a while. Please support my friends at Black Hills Blend Espresso. 4 locations here in Rapid City. There you go, buddy. Please like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Matthew Trask, on YouTube. And thank you for your support. There were 4 guitars I wanted on the show before I started the show. And this is not one of them, but it should have been. This, in some ways, is the guitar and amp from my childhood. I am the oldest of 12 kids. We lived way out in the sticks. And Dad didn't have 12 kids to follow us around and stuff. He had us to work on the place. And so we didn't go out and kicking up our heels a lot. And most of the time when I went out, it was this guitar and this amp that I heard. Pretty much the sound of my childhood. A Strat and a PV. I am having so much, incredibly much fun today. And then I was talking to this guy, and I should introduce him at some point. Mr. Shaun Mckay, everyone. I was talking to him about this guitar and how excited I was to have him on the show with this purple Strat. And he said, well, I also got this old Jazzmaster. And I said, you what, buddy? We will talk about this later. You are, in fact, Shaun Mckay.
I am, in fact, Shaun Mckay.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for having me, Matt.
For being on my show. I'm over the moon right now. This is too much fun. Tell us about you, with emphasis on your musical journey.
Well, I started out when I was probably born with music.
Yeah.
I used to be, when I was a baby, laid on a stage with Walt Copeland when they used to play music out in Creighton, South Dakota, and Wall and around the country. And my mother was a musician and played dances and bands when she was in high school.
Okay.
So it's kind of in my upbringing.
All right.
And always wanted to play guitar, and they finally bought me a guitar when I was 13 years old. Was a Montgomery Ward.
Okay.
And a guitar was a guitar back then.
Right.
Yeah, but it was a hard playing, but I didn't know the difference.
Right.
And I played it, didn't have an amplifier, it was electric.
Oh, okay.
Never had an amplifier, and I got this guitar for my 16th birthday.
Oh, sure. Yeah, all right.
And
upgraded just
a little upgrade, yeah.
Right.
And a friend of mine, and a lot of the musicians know him, Scotty Pack, had this guitar and sold it to my folks, and they give it to me for my birthday.
Okay.
And a truck driver came one day while I was plunking on this at the house and said, you need an amplifier for an electric guitar. And I thought, well, that might be all right, but I don't have one or the money for one. And my dad had a big stereo system that he said, well, we can plug into that stereo system. So we drove down to Schneider Music and bought a cord, just a little cheap cord for about $3.
Okay.
Went back and he wired it into my dad's stereo system, and so I had music throughout the whole house then.
Wow.
And bought finally from another friend, I bought an old Fender amplifier for $75.
Okay.
And it was an Echo Twin.
Okay.
And traded it to a lady that was playing in our band for this PV. That I thought I made quite a deal on that.
Right. Yeah.
So I wished I had it back. And then over the years, I found out that this guitar was kind of a special one, and it's special to me, let alone being what it is.
Right.
And I didn't want to drag it around to dances over the years.
I'm going to scoot back so they can see it better. This, by any stretch, is a special guitar. We're going to talk more about how special that is. I have several questions already. Number one, as a baby, when they laid you on the stage, did you ever roll and fall off?
I didn't do that till I was older.
Oh, okay, all right. Still laying on the floor.
Oh, yeah.
Rolling off the stage. Got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
And then Walt Copeland, we have had his grandson on the show. Yeah. Am I right? Yes, grandson. He's been on the show, Nicholas Copeland. Go back and watch that episode when we get done with this episode. So you had your Jazzmaster and the stereo system. Do you remember that sounding great?
Oh, absolutely. It had sound.
Well,
It was a completely different from playing unplugged with an electric guitar.
Sure.
And it was, and we had speakers in every room of the house. It was wired for, you could put the stereo in. So I could sit downstairs and I'd turn it up, and I never once had my folks say, turn it down.
Really?
Not one time.
Wow.
On occasion they said, we're going to visit. Is it okay?
Right.
Yeah,
sure.
Encouraged me, but they never discouraged me. And
Wow.
in high school, we went and played at gymnasiums, and a friend of mine, Richard Parker, who's an amazing musician and singer, and we'd just go sit in a courtyard or go just me and him on the guitars and just play, and that's how it got started.
I see. So, yes, at first plugging it in, it would blow you away. But also, I meant, do you remember that tone
Yes.
now as being really special and kind of wish you could find that tone again?
It was a unique tone because of the way the house was wired.
Okay.
But when I got that Echo Twin, it had that echo that the house had. And that's what I liked.
Okay. All right.
And I played that amplifier for probably 7-8 years.
Okay. So in the gymnasiums and stuff, was it a full band or
just Richard
guitar
and I.
duo?
Yeah, just Richard and I.
Did people start staying to listen, and after that even paying you?
No, they didn't. No, they didn't ever pay us. We never even thought about it. We just were. They'd say, "Hey, you want to come?"
Sure.
Sing some songs at this meeting or group or whatever, and we'd sure, and then we'd just go play maybe 2, 3 songs, 4 songs, and that was it. And
that was it.
And then just went back to class.
Sure.
He went to school at Douglas, and I went to school at Central. So.
Oh, all right. You went to school here in Rapid. I did not realize that.
I went to high school in Rapid, and I went to grade school in Wall.
Okay. All right. So when did we start our first band?
Well, that was in 1980.
Okay.
And one of the Kersteds from Quinn,
sure,
Al Norris, and you know him.
Yeah.
He come out to my grandpa's place and said he's going to play at a shrine dance in Long Valley and needed a guitar player.
Okay.
And heard I played guitar.
Right.
So he wanted me to be able to follow him because he was a fiddle player and he was the lead guy.
Right.
So he came out several times during the summer of 1980.
Okay.
And then that fall in October, we played at Long Valley.
Really?
And that was my first actual paying
Holy
band.
cow. Now, as I recall, that man is a very good musician.
Very good musician.
Were you able to impress him?
He kept me, we played quite a few dances after that. So,
really?
Yeah, either I was okay or he couldn't find anybody that was better.
I'm sure you were okay.
I was all right. Yeah. I was just learning.
Right.
Playing I tried out for a band when I went to Votech in Mitchell, and they wanted a hot lead player.
Oh.
And I hadn't played much lead.
Sure.
But they wanted me to come down and they humbled me pretty much.
Right.
Yeah. And they didn't hire me.
Oh, I see.
So I did practice a little bit more, and
that's always humbling.
It was humbling.
Sure. Yeah. So I think it's time to talk about the Purple Strat.
Purple Strat.
Yes.
The Purple Strat. I had a red Fender or a red Alvarez electric guitar because I bought it to save on this one.
Ah.
And I went into the Haggerty's Music downtown here before they moved up on the hill, and I seen this hanging on the wall, just hanging like these guitars back here are, and it caught my eye, and I stopped and looked at it, and I said, that's it. That's the one I've been looking for. I've always wanted just one that you see.
Right.
And that was it. So I told the guy, asked me if he could help me, and I said, well, I'd like to buy that guitar. And he said, okay, I'll get a chord and you go play it. And I said, I don't need to play it. I said,
I love this story, by the way.
I said, it's the guitar I want. It's a Strat, it's a Fender, it's the color. I like the color.
Right.
And everything about it. And that was it. And he said, well, we've never sold a guitar that somebody hasn't played before or tried out. And I said, well, you're going to today. I said, because I want the guitar. And he said, well, you got to play it. And he got a chord. And I said, fine. And so he grabbed me a chord, and we plugged into one of their amps. And I sit down like this, and I went. And I handed the chord back to him, and I said, now wrap it up. And that's when I bought it. And the little devil here was the first thing I've ever had on a guitar, and it's been on every one of my guitars ever since.
Okay.
So that's just kind of a special little friend that follows along.
The little devil.
Little devil.
I see.
Little devil in all of us.
That is
true,
isn't
To be
it?
a musician, you got to have little devil in you.
Cowboy philosopher right here. By God. So, number one, it's a very eye-catching, visually appealing guitar, and that is an important aspect. But when you got it home and plugged it in, and through the years, have you fallen in love with the guitar, the playability and the tone?
It plays as good or better than any one I've ever played.
Sure.
They all have their own little
Right.
unique things
Right.
about them, but it's very comfortable to play. Very
Sure.
nice tone. Yeah, I like it.
Have we done anything besides adhere the little devil
Nope.
to the
This is the way I took it off of the wall.
All right. Where was this one made?
This one I don't know.
Okay.
Where it was made, where it actually was made. As you can see, I still never even peeled off
Wow.
the pick covering on the back.
Holy cow.
Yeah, it just, like I said, it's just like the only damage really on it is that little bit right there that
Sure.
catches your belt buckle.
Right.
And when I played at dances, I would always
Right.
take my belt off,
Oh, you would?
throw it in the amplifier, so I
Okay.
didn't scratch up back of the guitar.
I see. Well, I was going to say you can't get buckle rash if you don't have a belt buckle.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
This one, we'll have to turn it over. Apparently you learned later on.
This guitar, as I said, my folks bought from Scotty Pack.
Right.
This is the the condition it was in, with the exception of a few more nicks and scratches on it.
Right.
But the back was like that before, and Scott had bought it from someone else.
I see.
So I was at least the third owner.
Okay.
So it
All right.
had some some damage on it, as you call the on the back side.
Right. Sure.
But yeah,
Buckle rash.
Buckle rash. Yeah.
Awesome. We are going to get back to this again in a second. So it's a matte purple guitar. You don't see that finish very often.
Right. I was told they made it for 3 years.
Okay.
And the pick guard, they added to it. It come with usually with a black or white pick guard,
Okay.
but they put this purple on it with the black knobs.
Okay.
And that's kind of what caught my eye.
Sure.
I've always liked that oyster shell,
Right.
and I've always liked
Tortoiseshell.
tortoiseshell
Thing going
Mhm.
on. Yeah.
Yeah, so
In certain light, I can see some very light wear patterns,
Oh, yeah.
especially on the contour. But in normal light, that will never show wear, will it?
it really doesn't. It
No.
just as like I said, there's a little bit on the back here where you can see the scratches.
Sure. Yeah.
And a little bit on there, but this has been played for, well, at least 15
Yes.
15 years anyway.
Oh, yeah.
18 years now I've had this guitar.
Cool. And so now we have to talk about this amplifier from my childhood. And I noticed when we were setting up, apparently at one point you forgot to put your belt back on because there's still a belt back there.
That belt, and this thing will squeal. If I could have you hold this.
Oh,
for me.
absolutely. Hello, baby. How are you?
This I did bring along. This was a belt I made when I was in junior high. First time I started making belts, as you
Oh,
can
wow.
see. It has my name when I first moved to Rapid, and I decided that was not a belt anymore. It was getting kind of wore, so that was my first
Guitar strap
guitar strap.
was your belt.
Was my belt. I cut holes in it here,
Sure.
and this was where the belt buckle went, and that
Right.
fit right on, and
Fit right on.
that was my.
So you've
mine.
kept it in the back of the amp.
I've had it with me ever since
I
that
see.
was my very first one.
That is very cool. He was bemoaning the fact he forgot his cinch guitar strap, a horse cinch.
that I made. Yeah.
That is even cooler, really. Thank you, Shaun. So tell us about this amplifier.
This amplifier was. I had a base 48
Okay.
amplifier that was about this tall.
Sure.
One speaker in it, and it was made for a bass guitar, and I bought it for $10.
Oh.
And that's the amplifier that I used for quite a while. But when we started playing at dances, I needed something with a little more sound.
Right.
And so I bought a Fender Echo Twin, and it had a really good sound to it, but it didn't have the sound I wanted.
Right.
And when I went into Schneider Music, Walt Copeland, once again, said, well, we've got one that has that sound. And he showed me this one, and I just, first time I played it, I liked it.
Oh, yeah.
And so I sold my Echo Twin, which I really wished I had back. And I sold it and bought this one when Peavey was first starting.
Okay.
It was in the 80s.
Sure.
When,
Yeah.
they were a pretty new company. Then,
Right.
And
Yes.
and it was quite a little cheaper than a Fender.
Right.
And it had the sound I wanted that
Right.
I couldn't get it. I didn't think I could get in a Fender. So
Sure.
it was cheaper, and at the time it sounded good and it was cheaper.
The sound you wanted was partly a phaser.
Right.
You wanted to get that outlaw country sound.
The Waylon Jennings
And
sound.
this guitar has a built-in phaser. It also has, guitar amplifier. Built-in phaser. Does this amp have chorus?
This amp doesn't have chorus.
It doesn't have chorus.
So I didn't bring it with me, but I bought a ME5
Okay.
to get the distortion
Okay.
and the chorus and
right.
the things of the 50s rock and
Sure.
that sort of thing. And
It would have reverb, though.
this one does
Digital
have
reverb.
This one has
Okay.
digital reverb.
All right. How many? I just saw one somewhere else in town, and they had it was the old Peavey. They had 13 reverb settings. How many does this have?
This just has one setting, but
Okay.
the amount you put in.
Well, sure.
can-
There's a knob to
yeah.
adjust the amount.
Yeah.
Sure. Really quickly, a little gear history. I believe his front name was Harlan Peavey, and I think he was in electronics repair and stuff. In the old days, the amplifiers came with vacuum tubes, and I should know what a vacuum tube does, but I don't. And there was a lot of technological innovations, mostly sparked by World War II, actually. And at some point, someone invented the transistor, which was made to do the job of the vacuum tube, whatever a vacuum tube does, more cheaply and reliably. And so people started putting them into everything, including guitar amplifiers, because they did the same thing, maintenance free, and it was much more cost effective. Now, I don't believe these people meant to ruin guitar tone, but then shortly people realized that those vacuum tubes really did something to a guitar's tone. But a good solid state amp really does kind of have its own thing going. Now, you did mention you had to buy some pedals to get overdrive and distortion and stuff. It's very difficult to do that with a solid state amp.
It's got to be done electronically.
Right.
And some of these are what they call tube amp and
Right.
electronics
Yeah.
together.
They have a preamp tube in them. But this would have just been pure solid state.
Yeah.
But they're still going. You probably hardly ever had it worked on.
I've never had this amplifier touched.
Sure. Well, you haven't played it in a while.
It's probably been 5 years since
Okay.
I've had maybe 3 years since I've had this one plugged in.
Sure. He plugged it in this morning, and there was a little scratchiness in a pot. Oh, we got to keep right on the truck in here. We better talk about
Okay.
this. I'll hold the one you want me to hold, and
You'll-
you hold the other one. How about?
That'll be good. Yeah, the Fender started out just a better guitar than and when you first play a guitar, in my opinion, and take that for what it's worth, you don't have a clue whether it's good or bad. When
That is true.
When I played that Montgomery Ward guitar, it was just the way it was.
Right.
You about had to have vice grips to hold the strings down.
Sure,
And
yeah.
and when you got done, your fingers were tough.
Right.
And when I got this, it plays so easy that I had a hard time to learn how to
Sure.
quit
Right.
grabbing it.
You were bending chords out of tune and stuff. Partly it's the excitement of having your first guitar, and also you will learn more from a bad guitar than you will from a good guitar. Sometimes what you learn is what you want in a guitar.
Right, and it's easier to play if you have a good one, and
Sure.
and it doesn't have to be expensive, but if you're going to start out with a good one.
Sure.
Because then if you've quit playing, you've got something to
Right.
trade with, or you got something worthwhile, and so.
Right. But absolutely, we are dealing with more guitar porn here. What year is this?
This, I believe, is a 59.
A 59
believe-
Jazzmaster.
I believe it is.
If I am not mistaken, it's a slab board. It's a rosewood slab board. Got to get the buzzwords in there.
Got to get the buzzer.
Is it all original?
It is all, as far as I know, it is all original. The only thing I don't have is the tremolo bar.
Okay, all right.
There's a bar that just sets in here, and you can come out and
Okay.
tremolo it. That I never did get with it. Scotty, if you're out there, keep looking for it. Yeah.
Very cool patina, and where that thing looks like a rock star. Do you play it much?
I don't play it very often. I get it out every once in a while
Okay.
just to
Yeah.
bring back some memories and keep it. This morning I had to completely retune all the strings because
Sure.
I detent everything when
Right.
it's stored so it doesn't stretch the neck, and
Right.
and the serial number on it is 62,000, and
Wow.
I've never researched it up
Sure.
because it's not for sale.
It's not.
No, it's not
Even
for
if
sale.
Chris Stapleton called,
No,
not for sale.
not for sale.
We probably aren't going to have time to play it on the show, which is unfortunate. Do all of the many myriad electronics work on it?
Everything works.
Okay.
Everything works.
Sure.
And it just switches the front to the back and
Right.
and the center, and then
Okay.
volume and tone. It's pretty, as far as guitars go, pretty basic.
Right. This is, I don't know if we've mentioned the Fender Jazzmaster.
Yep, exactly.
And it was Fender's very, very strange attempt to market to jazz players. Not a jazz guitar at all, despite the name.
Right.
But it then became the guitar for, it's become part of the alt-rock community, really. And now made famous by Chris Stapleton. But we do have to move on with the show. How about, we could talk for days and days and days, but I think I'm just going to let you play. And after I say some words here, thank you so much for being on my show, Shaun.
Well, thank you for having me, Matt. This
Absolutely.
has been a lot of fun. I've enjoyed
Absolutely.
it.
It's been a lot of fun for me, too. Remember my sponsorship with Trask Hay, LLC, large, round, and square bales, and custom haying, 515-0858. And if I don't see you in the future, I'll see you in the pasture. Shaun Mckay, will you play us out?
I will.
All right.
The only two things in life that make it worth living is guitars tuned good and firm, feeling women. Well, I don't need my name in the marquee lights. Well, I got my songs and I got you with me tonight. Maybe it's time we got back to the basics of love. Let's go to Lukenbach, Texas, Waylon and Willie and the boys. This successful life we're living's got us feuding like the Hatfields and McCoys. Between Hank Williams Payne songs and Blueberries Train songs and Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain. Out of Lukenbach, Texas, ain't nobody feeling no pain. So baby, let's sell your diamond rings, buy some boots and faded jeans and go away. This coat and tie is choking me, take your high society and cry all day. We've been so busy keeping up with the Jones, 4-car garage and we're still building on. Maybe it's time we got back to the basics of love. Let's go to Lukenbach, Texas, Waylon and Willie and the boys. This successful life we're living's got us feuding like the Hatfields and McCoys. Between Hank Williams Payne songs and Newberry's Train songs and Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain. Rock, Texas, there ain't nobody feeling no pain. Out of Lucan Rock, Texas, there ain't nobody feeling no pain.
Two things. Damn it, now I need a phaser. And I have never met a woman who would willingly trade her diamond rings for boots and jeans.
But we can still keep looking.
I don't know where they keep those women. Thanks for watching, everybody.
you.
I'm Matt Trask, and this is Shaun Mckay.
Thank you,
Woo!
man.